The night was still. The people of Bani Israel were gathering in the streets, whispering in awe, for Qarun, the man of unmatched wealth, was about to make an appearance. Qarun was not just wealthy, he was wealth itself. His treasures were so vast that even the keys to his vaults had to be carried by strong men, each struggling under their weight. Imagine, not the treasures, not the gold, not the jewels, but merely the keys, so heavy that a group of men could barely lift them. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more amazing content. He walked among his people in garments of silk adorned with gold, his servants carrying banners, his camels laden with jewels that glittered in the sun. His wealth was a kingdom unto itself. The people stared, their eyes wide. Some sighed with envy. They whispered to each other, "If only we had what Qarun has. If only we could live like this." But among them were those who remembered, the righteous, the scholars, those who knew the truth. They warned, "Woe to you, do not be deceived. The reward with Allah is far greater for those who believe and do righteous deeds. And none are granted it except those who are patient." But Qarun did not listen. Why should he? Was he not the richest man alive? Did not his power, his palaces, his reputation prove that he was favored, that he was chosen? So when they reminded him, "Give in charity, do good with what Allah has given you. Do not spread corruption on the earth," Qarun smirked. And with arrogance he declared, "I was only given it because of knowledge I possess." He believed his wealth was his own genius, his own power, his own doing. No mention of Allah, no gratitude, no humility. But wealth without humility is a curse, and arrogance before Allah is destruction. So one day, as Qarun strutted before his people in pride, the ground beneath his feet began to tremble. At first, it was faint, a vibration under the sandals, but then it grew. The earth groaned, the stones cracked, and before the people's eyes, the very ground split open. They gasped, they screamed, they tried to run, but it was too late. Qarun, the man who thought he owned the earth, was swallowed by it. His palaces shook, his treasures clattered, and his servants cried out. The earth opened wider, devouring his riches, his wealth, his pride, until nothing remained. No silk, no jewels, no palaces, no servants, no Qarun. The Qur'an says, "So he caused the earth to swallow him and his home, and he had no company to aid him other than Allah, nor was he of those who could defend themselves." The people who had envied him the day before now trembled in fear. They whispered to each other, "Ah, it is indeed Allah who enlarges provision for whom he wills and restricts it. Had Allah not been gracious to us, he would have caused the earth to swallow us too." The disbelievers do not prosper. The night Qarun vanished was not just a story for his people. It was a turning point in history. The man who had paraded his wealth, the man whose palaces towered over the poor, the man who boasted, "This is mine, I earned it with my own knowledge," was now gone, not slain in battle, not robbed by thieves, not toppled by a rival, but devoured by the very ground he walked on. The people who saw it never forgot. One moment, Qarun stood in pride, his silks gleaming in the sun. The next, his body, his home, his gold, his treasures, all swallowed whole. The sand smoothed over. Silence remained. It was as though he had never existed. And this was not the first time the earth was commanded to punish. The Qur'an tells of another group, rebels among the followers of Musa, peace be upon him. When they turned against their prophet, when they spread corruption and arrogance, the earth was ordered to take them too. They were swallowed alive, their cries muffled by the sand, their rebellion buried in darkness. Allah does not need an army to punish. He does not need fire or flood, thunder or plague. Sometimes the earth beneath your feet, the very ground you trust, becomes his weapon. And when the earth swallows, there is no escape. The prophet, peace be upon him, warned us that this punishment is not only of the past, near the end of times, he said. The earth will once again swallow entire groups of people. He, peace be upon him, described an army that will march toward the Kaaba with evil intent, and Allah will cause the earth to open beneath them, swallowing them all, a punishment that is both ancient and yet to come. So, Qarun's story is not distant history. It is a glimpse of what happens when arrogance and ingratitude reach their peak. The Qur'an paints his end not just as an event, but as a warning carved into eternity. Think about it. The people who envied him yesterday, who said, "If only we had what Qarun has," stood in horror today. They now said, "Subhanallah, it is only Allah who grants and withholds. It is only Allah who decides." In a single night, their perspective changed. The riches they once desired now looked like a curse. The man they once admired was a lesson, a reminder, a warning. And Qarun himself, his last sight was not his gold, not his palace walls, not the adoring stares of the people. His last sight was the earth tearing open, dragging him into the depths, a prison darker than any dungeon. The prophet, peace be upon him, described that when the earth swallows a person, the walls of soil close in around them, their ribs crushed together, their body pressed until there is no space. It is not just burial, it is punishment, a suffocating grip that squeezes with the anger of Allah. And so Qarun's empire was erased in a single command. Not a stone of his palace remained. Not a jewel of his vault survived. His name became a curse on the tongues of the righteous. Even today, in Arabic, when someone becomes consumed by greed, people say, "Don't be like Qarun." He became a living parable, a man who thought wealth was safety, only to learn that wealth cannot buy mercy. Gold cannot buy escape, and arrogance cannot buy life. The story of Qarun is not just about him. It is about us, because every generation has its Qarun. Every era has its people who believe wealth makes them untouchable. Every society has those who build towers of pride, hoard fortunes, mock the poor, and forget Allah. Look around today. The palaces of glass that pierce the skies. The vaults of gold stored underground. The billionaires who boast, "We made this with our own knowledge, our own genius, our own strength." Is it really any different from Qarun's words? "I was only given it because of knowledge I possess." The Qur'an does not tell us these stories so we can marvel at the past. It tells us so we can recognize ourselves in the mirror, because arrogance is timeless, ingratitude is timeless, and punishment is timeless. Qarun thought his palace would last forever, but the earth swallowed it. Pharaoh thought his kingdom was invincible, but the sea drowned it. Tammuz thought their carved mountains would protect them, but a scream shattered them. Every empire, every tyrant, every arrogant heart, all fall the same way. And so the question is not, what happened to Qarun? We already know. The question is, am I building the palace of Qarun in my own heart? Because the earth may not swallow us, but arrogance can. Wealth may not drag us underground, but pride can bury us long before we die. And chasing dunya can suffocate the soul just like the soil suffocated Qarun. The prophet, peace be upon him, warned, no one who has an atom's weight of arrogance in his heart will enter paradise. An atom, not a mountain, not a grain, an atom. So what do? We guard our hearts. We remind ourselves that wealth is a trust, not a crown. That every coin in our pocket is a test waiting to be spent. That every success we achieve is only by Allah's permission, not our genius. And when we forget, when we start to believe, "I earned this, I built this, I deserve this," we must look back to Qarun. Because the sand still whispers his name, because the earth still remembers how it swallowed him whole, because the Qur'an still calls to us. So we caused the earth to swallow him and his home, and he had no company to aid him other than Allah, nor was he of those who could defend themselves. The lesson is written clearly. Everything you own can be taken. Every palace can crumble. Every treasure can vanish. But what remains is your faith, your gratitude, your deeds. So tonight, when you lie down to sleep, ask yourself, am I living like Qarun, collecting keys so heavy that others must carry them for me? Or am I living like those who said, the reward of Allah is far better for the patient? Because one day, the ground beneath our feet will open for all of us. For some, it will be mercy, a gentle resting place. For others, it will be punishment, a crushing darkness. The choice is ours, and the warning of Qur'an is eternal. Do not be swallowed by arrogance. Do not be buried in pride. Live in gratitude and seek your paradise not on earth, but with Allah. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more amazing content.